Hello class and welcome to week 6. We're going to be going over patterns and also automation, since automation is a form of pattern. But in truth, it's really useful in a lot of fields these days to be able to create patterns, so I feel it's important to cover how to do it in Photoshop. There's other software that will do it almost automatically. Frequently, you would just want to use that, but sometimes you use the tools you have, so we use Photoshop. This is the piece that I will be creating over the next stack of videos. And about the videos, we have review first, so if you really remember all of your cloning tools, your clone stamp, your healing brushes, and all those, feel free to skip those over to automation. Check out automation and keep going on that. From there, we go over how to create the patterns. You'll have to watch at least a few of those videos to understand how to make these patterns. Keep in mind that image patterns such as this wall are much more complicated to produce than more of a texture pattern or a stamp pattern like these limes, which were just limes again and again, or stars, which is another case of the stamp pattern, or even a drawing. So you may want to select your time carefully. This particular one, I believe, takes about 2 hours of videos to demonstrate all of the tedium of assembling it, but I wanted to be honest with the amount of work that goes into it. This one took about 15 minutes. And what are these? Well, they're patterns. They repeat across the screen, and they allow you to do things like fill in backgrounds in video games or in 3D artwork. That's a terrible one, but there you have it. This is okay. If you're doing backgrounds for actual artwork as well, well, 3D artwork technically is actual artwork as well, but I mean things that are going to print. Sometimes you'll just need a pattern in the background to load in and then have it set there. So I wanted to show you a few of the things that the students have done as well. But keep in mind, there's approximately, I want to say, 6 hours of videos here this week. It is, about 6 hours of videos this week. But again, you can skip the reviews, which are the first stack up to actions. So you can, if you remember perfectly well, feel free to skip these guys. Then that alone is an hour and 12 minutes. You'll want to watch actions, which includes contact sheets and offset filters. That'll be about an hour and 20. And I'd recommend watching the first batch of these up until the stone, which that should be 1 of 4. That's about another hour. When you get to the stone, you can take it or leave it depending on the type of textures that you're building, but there are a lot of videos on this, and you may want to just come back to it later after you've completed the assignment. Once you have all of your patterns and you've saved them out, you're going to assemble them into these sheets. And it is a lot of work, but the students before you have done it. Let's show you what some of the things they did. Heads up though, this is a mistake a lot of people make. You'll notice that I don't have any text underneath anything. Don't leave text on. Just go ahead and redo it if you've got to redo it. But we've got a big old stack of patterns, some really fun ones going in here. I love this one. Great patterns, great patterns. Close that up. I don't think we need to look at mine anymore. Here's another issue that's a frequent occurrence. You're going to want to make sure that your pattern is actually a square. And you'll get beautiful patterns coming in all over the place. Also, this is a common mistake as well. It will just be a single image captured as a pattern. You have to use the offset. These things should be lining in. We shouldn't be able to tell that this is just 9 squares. It should look as seamless as this first one coming in. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This had some good ones too. Like something as simple as this can work really well. It's a plaid pattern. This was pretty cool. There's a little bit of an offset. Whoa, a little bit of an offset here. You'll want to watch out for that. Make sure that these line up so that they don't have any glitches, and go over how to do that. And again, like I said, common mistake. You'll want to bring this in. Another issue that tends to happen is people will start with gradients. That's a very bad idea. A gradient is almost impossible to blend together easily. You'll have to end up using a lot of blurs to make it happen. So do watch out for gradients. It will just make it a difficult time. Not that I'm ragging on any of these students. I think they did brilliant work. This worked out fairly well. Again, it's a little easy to tell where the pattern is. I'd really prefer something like these adorable dinosaurs. If you're going to do something like that, it's a little harder for me to actually tell where the pattern is getting cut. And you can see it's just right there. Very cute. Very nice little dinosaurs. The clocks on that one actually were quite nice too. This one, again, this pattern's amazing. As it goes through, it works out beautifully. Even though you can kind of catch the repeat, it's great. Great job on that. And then you have, again, another common issue. Do watch out on that. You'll want to make sure that you have an actual square captured when you make the pattern. And try to keep the contact sheet at the top. It's another common problem. And so you've got, this is a really good one. You've got patterns galore. And each student needs to do 9 patterns. You'll see that the amount of time put into them tends to differ depending on how long you're working on it. I know some of these students had to do it twice. They lost some of their files, so watch out for that. Keep backups. Here are some really good ones. It's when you start looking at it, you think that it's a square, but then you realize everything's smushed and rotated slightly. Got lots of painting wobbles, kind of a stone going on. It'd be good to take care of some of this brightness. We'll cover better ways of doing that later. These are brilliant. Absolutely amazing marbles. This is something, that's to strive for. Basically started with marble. They took marbles and they put them on top of marbles, and voila, eventually you had all these marbles. All right. And again, the gradient will mess you up. This is an issue that many people learn. I like this bottom one. Let's look at that real quick. Right here. This actually worked out pretty well, I think. One thing I would have done is bring out the splat a little bit more on the edges. You can do that with the offset filter. This will make more sense at the end of everything. And these were a lovely set of patterns. Big smeary patterns. This one's a great pattern. I think that one works out great. This one, I really like this one too. This one's brilliant. Again, how you produce these patterns, as you can see, there's a million different ways to do it. These are all just beautiful patterns. And yeah, this is great. This is great work, honestly. So if you did them all of this quality, I would be super excited. Let's go ahead and move on. There's some great ones in this one too. This one I liked a lot. One issue, you notice this white line. That happened because the image wasn't the full 2-inch size, which is a problem you'll want to watch out for. This is gorgeous. I love this one. If you do something like this, I'll be extremely happy too. Don't push yourself to it. If you think of another way or another thing, that's great. This one, I would have liked this broken up a little bit more. And this had a couple of repeating lines, but otherwise, looking good. And this one is great as well. It's got one of these guys. I showed you how to make that early on. This, I think, is really well done. Look at all those little cat heads pasted on top of each other. This is really well done as well. This is really well done as well. These are all just great. This one's amazing. It's just some excellent, excellent work. This is a great one too. This simple looking pattern is great. I would rank it highly. I would also rank this one highly and this one highly. And this one highly as well. These are all great patterns. So don't worry yourself too much if you think that it may not be up to snuff. As long as it's hard to tell where the pattern is when you first glance at it, I'm happy. This looks great. These are all great patterns. This one's all right. Now this has a little too much of the previous patterns really to get me excited, especially after all of the amazing work and everything else, but still good. All right. And watch out on this. I brought this one up. These patterns are fine. I had to go in though and do a lot of work to grade it. I don't want you doing this. I want to make sure that you have a contact sheet on the top and then 9 patterns, the same patterns that are in the contact sheet as pattern adjustment layers. And I'll show you how to do that. And then a background layer. Don't just make a contact sheet and then think you're done. You still have to insert all of those patterns. So I have this one up here too. These patterns were actually really good. I had to harvest them out though, which puts me in a foul mood when I'm trying to just grade through papers. This just had a couple of instances of problems on the blue dots. The purple dots worked out great. So watch out for those. This one worked out lovely as well. I would have liked to think a smaller moon or a couple of little moons in here so we didn't spot right away where the pattern was. The stars look great on it. This one works really well. Kind of hurts my eyes because of the colors, but it works well as a pattern. This one worked out well. This one is great. I love this pattern. Really well done on that. This one, they broke it up, fortunately, with these lines going above and below. Their concept was to do a wrapping paper, which I really appreciate. But again, the gradient was causing problems. You can see where everything is. I would not recommend gradients. Everyone seems to try it for some reason. This was supposed to be a birthday wrapping paper. I liked that one a lot too. And then this was just a gorgeous pattern made out of the Little Dipper. So great patterns, and it, boom, has the contact sheet on the top. and the background layer on the bottom. Make sure that yours look like that. I'm going to include an example file, but otherwise, there you have it. Keep in mind, if you feel super comfortable, watch the next video first. I'll talk about that. I'll be reviewing things. And if you feel as though you're okay with not reviewing things, that's fine too. You'll be able to skip all the way over to what are actions, which should be the 6th video. You'll want to watch all the way through actions, just so that you know how actions work. And if you start, if you're really crunched for time, what are actions, and then skip over to contact sheet, but come back and watch these later. You do want that. Absolutely watch the offset filter. That is a requirement. And then you want to watch all of these texture videos up to video 17, making a stonewall pattern, part 1 of 4. If you're not going to be doing a complex pattern like that cat head that was going on or any of those things, you can skip those and come back after you finish the assignment, because it is, I believe, 2 hours of videos, and it's the same sort of material covered in all of these little videos before it. Once you're done with that, do watch how to make the assignment, which are the last 2 videos, video 21 and 22, and then you'll be set. Okay, good luck with everything. If you have any questions, do let me know, and I will be happy to answer them. Catch you on the flip side.